Welcome to the Author Blurb podcast. I'm your host, Eric Maynard, and this is another review. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a book by Frank Zafiro. It's called The Last Horseman. So, I found this to be an interesting story, and I'm going to get into it very shortly. And if this is your first time listening to one of the reviews, which would make sense because by the time this goes out, I would have only done one other prior. What I'm doing here is I am reviewing certain books that either I've ordered from different authors, some that was sent to me, and I'm reading them. I'm reviewing them. I'm giving you my opinion of what I think of them. Some authors' books, I'm not an expert or a fan of that genre. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in people every now and then, talk with me to discuss these books. That way, I can give you possibly the best outcome in figuring out if this book is for you. Now, as I've said on the first review, I'm definitely not somebody that you're going to find writing a large article or a fancy review, and you're not going to see it in any fancy newspapers, magazines, what so have you. What I am is an average guy who enjoys good books, good stories, good information, and I do have a joy of reading in many different genres. So, with that being said, today I'm talking about The Last Horseman by Frank Zafiro. It's a noir. I've listened to the audiobook of this. Now, as you can see the cover, it's a crime noir where you're taking and rooting for the bad guy, or who technically would be considered a bad guy. Just so you're aware, this is a book where a group of cops come together, and as a group, they decide that they're going to fix the injustices that is coming through from the courts letting criminals go, letting people off, doing all these things, trying to make sure that justice is served and people that should not be on the street are no longer there. So before the story even starts off, the characters start off as four horsemen. There's four police officers that come together, and you learn more about the structure behind it as the story goes. But the general gist of it, that I understand it, is these four cops, they get together. I don't remember exactly now off the top of my head how they decided to start this group, but they ended up realizing that there was a need for them to handle a situation that was not what they found justice. They set up where they had an anonymous source helping them funnel information through so that they could find somebody and they would do the research and go out and eliminate, or I guess you best say kill, these criminals that got away with either murder or rape or something that was severely unjust that they need to pay for. It's, to me, I kind of am torn on the thought of vigilante justice, which in theory sounds fantastic. The criminal is getting his just due. I did enjoy the story. I found it interesting. As soon as I started listening to it, the narrator did a fantastic job with it. The storyline was well done. Frank definitely took his knowledge from being a police officer and put it to good use in this story. He has a lot of books out, and he's written a lot there. Right now, The Last Horseman's the only one I've read of his, and like I said, I enjoyed it. There's several twists that you don't really see. And as the story starts off, the reason it goes to being called The Last Horseman is as the four horsemen began, one by one by one would go away until the story picks up where there's only two horsemen, two police officers that are sitting down talking about what's happening. And one of them decides that he's going to say, I quit, I'm done. And that's what he came there to tell him. He wasn't going to do it anymore. And he was leaving before anything else went south, before something happened. And I forget the reason, but he just leaves. The Last Horseman, the main character, is left with this person that he's given as a target to take out. Now, you would think, okay, he's going to kill him. Well, there's a whole twist behind even the person that's going to be killed, learning about what's happening. I want to tell you all about everything that happens, all the twists, all the different things, but sadly enough, I know if I start going off and telling you the little facts that I found interesting about it, it'll lead into me telling you about the story, the ending, and things that I really don't want to tell you in the review because I thought it was a good book and it's a good story, and it's something I think anybody that enjoys a good crime thriller or noir would get into, especially for those who are the audiobook readers, because the narrator did a fantastic job, as I said. Now, for better or worse, you're going to find that there are certain points that you kind of sit there and say, well, and at least I did. But the majority of the story did keep a good, steady pace, keep you very interested, and keep you very wanting to know what's happening. Now, I don't normally go into the crime thrillers. Weirdly enough, I wrote 3 books that is based around organized crime and crime thrillers, kind of a noir myself. So it's kind of weird for me to say that, but I enjoy telling the stories. It's just not many crime thrillers I find I can read or listen to the audiobooks of it that I sit there and say, oh, well, that's a surprise. This one actually did pull that off. I didn't expect the ending. I didn't expect quite a few of the turns. There were 1 or 2 things that I did kind of predict that came through. And, you know, if you read a genre, or you at least understand the genre, you should still be able to do that with almost any story. But like I said, this story does not leave you saying, oh yeah, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. He's going to either fall in love or kill this person, or he's going to do this. You don't really get that. There's, like I said, twists. There's unforeseen things happening that Frank slowly brings out, and he doesn't really do any foreshadowing that, or at least I didn't notice the foreshadowing if there was any, that led you into saying this is what's going to happen. With that being said, I highly suggest crime thrillers or noir fans to go out and read this book. Listen to the audio, get the ebook, and most likely read some of Frank's other stuff. I know that once I get caught up on the 100 and some books I have to read, which, and it's a growing list, I'm going to go out and read some of his other books. Oh, hello. I'm cutting in right now just to let you know I've let Frank Zafiro know about the review that I've done for him, and he seemed to like it, but there is one thing he did tell me that I did not know at the time of doing the review. The Last Horseman, which I thought was a standalone book, turns out to be the first of a series, a first of a trilogy, actually. Now, he's telling me that later this year, there's going to be the second book coming out, and in 24, another book's going to be coming out. With that being said, it's a good story to get started in, and I'm already looking forward to the next book. I wanted to take a second to let you know that there's more to expect out of this series than just a standalone one book. The Last Horseman, fun exciting book to enjoy, like I've said several times in this review. So that's really what I want to tell you. Back to my review. The only reason I got a chance to read The Last Horseman or listen to the audio is Frank actually had a promotion going that I got lucky enough to get, and I got a free copy of it for myself, where he had it posted on Twitter, where you can find Author Blurb on Twitter as well, in case you didn't know. And I got the book. I listened to it basically, I think the same day I got it, I started listening to it because I was interested. So other than that, I don't know what to tell you. And go get the book. Enjoy it. You can find the interview that Frank and I had on his profile, on YouTube, on Rumble. You can find the audio in almost any streaming services that you want to find. And if it's not there, tell me about it, because I will get the show put on any streaming services it's not on, if I can. There might be some limitations, but if I can, I will have them there. Because, well, I want you to hear it wherever you are or however you prefer to. With that being said, I also wanted to ask you, let people know about the show. Go to authorblurb.com, share stories or articles that you find on there that some of the authors have written for your enjoyment. Go read the profiles. You can sort by genres, by many different ways of finding an author in the profiles under the author list. And, you know, if you're an author yourself, go to become an author on the authorblurb.com, or become a guest. Become a guest. Where on Become a Guest, you can fill out a form and come on. I'll review your information, and if everything seems like we would have a good conversation, I'll invite you on, because I'm always happy to have a good conversation with any author I can. With that being said, also remember that any support you try to give me is well appreciated. It helps me either improve different things that I'm doing, new hardware, new mic, hopefully eventually a new computer, and different things to be able to help grow and improve the show. And I tried not to do sponsors yet, just for the fact of I want to give you, the listeners, the readers, the people that want to learn about authors, a full and uninterrupted, basically, show that you can get interested in. I appreciate you being here. If you don't think I'm doing a good job, send me a message. Let me know what I can do to improve. I'm always happy to hear your voice. I'm always happy to do what I can to help things get better. With that being said, thank you again. I appreciate you. I hope you go and listen to the other authors' interviews. I hope you go and find Frank's interview and listen to that as well. With that being said, I'm going to keep working on more reviews. I have a whole lot more interviews scheduled, and the list is consistently growing. So enjoy. And I almost forgot to tell you, I tried to tell everybody, if you do go to authorblurb.com, you'll find on there a thing where you can leave a message for me, up to 90 seconds. You leave that message, you give me the voicemail, you can ask a question, and you can or you can tell me what you think. And if it's clean, I'll send the message to the author, see if I can get them to answer it. I will try to answer if the question's for me myself. And if it's a general comment, who knows? I might just throw you on the show and have everything put there for you to be part of the show yourself. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you again. I can't thank you enough, obviously. And so you know, it does mean a lot to me that you're listening to the show. So thank you. Have a good day. And I look forward to seeing you soon.